He came home early from a business trip only to find a scene that froze his blood. His maid, wrists tied to the headboard, his twin strapped helplessly to her chest. At first it looked like betrayal. But the truth, his wife had humiliated the maid, forbidden her from seeing her dying son, and tied her down so she couldn't move. When the millionaire uncovered the cruel truth, he made a choice that shocked everyone and changed his home forever. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments what time is it and where are you watching from. Let's start. Alina's arms trembled as she held the crying bobbies against her chest. Their small bodies pressed into her blue uniform, fists tugging at the fabric, their screams piercing the silence of the mansion. She kissed their foreheads, whispering desperately, "SHH, my darling, please don't cry. You'll wake her. Please just sleep." But they didn't stop. Her yellow-gloved hands rocked them as much as she could, but her strength was fading. She hadn't eaten since morning. She hadn't rested properly in weeks. All she needed was 1 hour. 1 hour to rush to the hospital and sit beside her son who lay weak and shivering under cold white sheets. 8 years old, lungs full of infection, fighting for his life. She had begged the doctors not to give up on him. But what good were doctors when his own mother couldn't be there to hold his hand? When she had dared to ask for time off, the lady of the house had laughed in her face. Mrs. Hale's heels clacked against the marble floor as she entered the nursery earlier that afternoon, glass of wine in hand. Her eyes, sharp and painted with disdain, narrowed at Alina. "You again with that pitiful face," Mrs. Hale sneered, swirling the wine. "What excuse now? Forgot how to fold my husband's shirts. Or maybe you burned a stew again." Alina swallowed her pride. "Ma'am, please, my son is in the hospital." "He's very ill. I need just a little time." Mrs. Hale's laughter cut her off loud and cruel. "Your son? You mean that sickly boy I hear about every other day? Why must I be punished because a maid can't keep her child alive?" Alina's throat tightened. "He's all I have, ma'am. Please, just 30 minutes, 30 minutes. The woman's voice sharpened. "Do you think these bobbies can spare even 30 seconds without you clinging to them? Look at them crying, wailing. And this is you taking care. You can't even keep them quiet. And you dare ask me for favors?" Alina's tears welled, but she stood firm. "I'll run there and back. No one will even notice I was gone." Mrs. Hale's hand shot out, striking Alina across the cheek with a crack. The wine sloshed in its glass. "Ungrateful rat, you forget your place. You are not a mother here. You are a servant, and servants do not choose where they go." The bobbies screamed louder at the sound. Alina bent her head, shushing them, her face burning. "Please don't hit me in front of them." But Mrs. Hale's eyes glinted with fury. "If you can't stay put, then I'll make sure you do." She yanked a strip of linen from the wardrobe, grabbed Alina by the wrists, and shoved her against the bed. The twins squealed at the sudden jolt, clinging tighter to Alina's chest. "No, ma'am, please, the bobbies." Alina struggled, but the silk gown-wrapped figure was stronger than she appeared, fueled by spite. "Shut your mouth," Mrs. Hale hissed, forcing Alina's arms above her head. She tied the linen tight around her wrists, binding her to the headboard. Alina winced as the knots cut into her skin, the yellow gloves making it harder to wriggle free. "Ma'am, I can't move. Please, this is dangerous." "Dangerous?" Mrs. Hale scoffed. "The only danger in this house is a maid who forgets she's disposable." She pulled back, satisfied, watching Alina pinned beneath the weight of responsibility. She couldn't escape. The twins whimpered restless, but when Alina whispered lullabibus through tears, their cries softened. Mrs. Hale smirked, sipping her wine. "See, you're not going anywhere. You'll stay here. You'll feed them, soothe them, bleed for them if you must, but forget your pathetic child. He'll die and you'll still be here rocking mine." Alina's heart split in two. She sobbed quietly, shaking her head. "Don't say that. Please don't say that." Mrs. Hale tilted her head, mocking pity. "When my husband returns, I'll tell him what I found. His maid tied down, pretending to be a saint while secretly lazy and incompetent. We'll see how long you last here." With that, she left, slamming the door. Hours crawled by. Alina's wrists socked. The baby shifted and whimpered against her chest, but finally exhaustion won, and they slept. She hummed softly, her voice breaking, "Sleep now, my angels. Mama's here, always here." But her mind wandered to her own son. Was he awake? Did he cry for her? Did he ask why she didn't come? The thought was unbearable. Her eyelids drooped, body trembling with fatigue, when the sound of the front door unlocking jolted her awake. Firm footsteps echoed through the marble hall. A man's steps, familiar. The door creaked open, and there he was. Victor Hale stood frozen in the doorway, navy suit immaculate, briefcase still in hand, his sharp face drained of color, His eyes darted from Alina's tied wrists to the two infants strapped to her chest, asleep. For a moment he didn't breathe, staring at the sight of his twin strapped to the maid's chest, her wrists bound cry to the headboard. "What the hell is this?" His voice thundered through the room. Alina flinched. "Sir, I beg you, don't shout. The bobbies will wake." "Don't you dare tell me what to do in my own house," he barked, stepping closer. His briefcase hit the floor with a thud. "Explain right now." Her lips trembled. She wanted to tell him everything at once, but the words tangled in her throat. She could only manage a broken whisper. "It wasn't me." Victor leaned over her, his shadow falling across her pale face. "Then who tied you? Why are my children strapped to you like this?" Before she could answer, the sound of heels clicked sharply against the marble hallway. Mrs. Hale appeared in the doorway, her red lips curling into a smirk. She sipped lazily from a fresh glass of wine, as though nothing in the world were wrong. "Oh, darling," she drawled, feigning innocence. "You weren't supposed to be home so soon." Victor's head snapped toward her. "Catherine, what is going on here?" She arched a brow, stepping into the room with calculated grace. "Exactly what it looks like. I caught her slacking off, lying in our bed while the bobbies cried. Can you believe it? So I made sure she wouldn't run away and neglect them again." Alina's eyes widened. "That's a lie," she cried, her voice cracking. "Sir, please, you have to believe me." Victor raised a hand, silencing her, his gaze hardened on his wife. "You tied her. Catherine, are you out of your mind?" Catherine shrugged, twirling the stem of her wine glass between manicured fingers. "Don't be dramatic. She's a maid. She doesn't get to walk out whenever she pleases. Especially not when she begged to run to some hospital for that sick child of hers. Honestly, I was tired of hearing about it." The words hit Alina like a dagger. Her head dropped, tears streaming. "My son, he's dying and she wouldn't let me see him." Victor turned sharply back to Alina. "Your son, you never told me you had a child." Alina's chest rose and fell in ragged breaths. "I didn't want to lose this job. I needed it to pay for his medicine. I thought if I worked hard enough, I could manage both." But she choked, unable to continue. Catherine snorted. "See, she hides things. She's untrustworthy. This is why I said we shouldn't hire her. Look at her crying, pitiful, acting like a victim while she clings to our children as if they were her own." Victor's fist slammed against the headboard, making Alina gasp. "Enough!" he roared, glaring at his wife. "How dare you treat a human being like this in my house? How dare you risk the safety of my son just to humiliate her?" Catherine's smirk faltered. "Risk? Don't be ridiculous. The bobbies are fine." Victor's eyes burned. "Fine. Strapped to a woman who hasn't eaten, hasn't rested, bound like a criminal. Do you even hear yourself?" Alina's sobs filled the silence. The twins stirred slightly, but she rocked her chest gently, soothing them back into slumber even though her wrists throbbed under the knots. Victor stepped closer to her, his tone softer now. "Alina, tell me everything." From the start, she shook her head, ashamed. "Sir, I don't want trouble. I only wanted to serve well. But every day she insulted me, called me worthless, forbade me from eating the food I cooked. And today when I begged to see my son in the hospital, she tied me down. She said, I belong to this house, not to him." Victor's throat tightened. He looked into Alina's swollen eyes, then down at the tiny infants who, despite everything, slept peacefully against her. His chest stocked. "Catherine," he said slowly, his voice shaking with restrained fury. "Is this true?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh, don't act like some saint, Victor. You were the one who hired her. You left me alone to manage everything while you played businessmen abroad. Do you think I'm going to let some maid disrespect me under my own roof?" She needed to learn. Victor's face darkened. "Learn or suffer, she's lying." Catherine snapped, suddenly defensive. "She's turning you against me." Victor's voice dropped to a growl. "No, you did that yourself." The silence that followed was suffocating. Catherine's smug mask cracked for the first time. Victor turned back to Alina, gently untying the knots that bruised her wrists. She winced, but didn't pull away. He carefully lifted the twins from her chest and cradled them in his arms, their tiny faces nestled against his suit. His eyes never left his wife. These children trusted her more than their own mother. And now I know why Catherine's mouth fell open, but no words came. Victor took a deep breath, looking between his wife and the maid who had silently carried the weight of his absence. Betrayal stung like fire in his veins. "This ends tonight," he said coldly. Victor placed the twins carefully back into Alina's arms. For a moment his gaze softened. The sight of her cradling them, despite swollen wrists and tear-stained cheeks, was more powerful than any excuse Catherine could invent. He turned to his wife, his voice calm but cutting like steel. You humiliated her, starved her, tied her down, and you dared to gamble with the safety of our sons. Catherine, you've disgraced this home. Catherine's face twisted, the color draining. You'd take her word over mine. A servant. Victor stepped closer, his jaw set. Not just her word. The evidence is right in front of me. A mother doesn't need blood to prove herself. And she proved more loyalty to my children than their own mother ever has. Alina's lips quivered. Sir, I never wanted to replace anyone. I only wanted to do my duty and see my son one last time. Her whisper cracked the room in half. Victor's shoulders stiffened, shame washing over him. He hadn't known. He hadn't cared enough to ask, and in his silence, cruelty had flourished in his own house. He looked down at her, his voice low but firm. You will see your boy Alina tonight, and not as a servant sneaking hours, but as a mother who deserves to be by her child's side. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she clutched the twins tighter, rocking them gently. Thank you, sir. Victor straightened, his eyes locking onto his wife, who now stood trembling in her silk gown. You wanted to break her. Instead, you've broken this marriage. From this moment, things will never be the same for you or for this house. The silence that followed was deafening. Catherine's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the marble floor. And for the first time in years, the balance of power inside the Hale mansion shifted. If this story gripped your heart, don't just scroll away. Smash that like button, drop a comment telling us what shocked you the most, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Turn on all notifications because every day we bring you real emotional stories that prove money can buy comfort, but never loyalty, love, or truth.